Welcome to Kava and Kettlebells, where we talk about Kava, fitness, and life. Let's get Kavafied.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Charles.
Hey, guys. This is Heidi. Thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't already, go ahead and take 5 seconds and thumbs up this episode. Hit the bell to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Kava_kettlebells and share with your friends and family to really help us get this message out. All right, on today's episode, we are going to be talking to Manny Lamson. Manny is a major in the United States Air Force and the host of the Non-Standard podcast. Manny is also a First Form ambassador where he coaches on fitness and nutrition. So Manny, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no, I'm very appreciative of you guys reaching out to get me on the show. Obviously, Charles, we've been on the show as well, so it was great to bring both ends together. And that's what I love about the podcasting world is it's not as competitive as people think it is, where it's like, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. Well, I have a podcast and you don't talk. It's like the exact opposite. It's like you help each other, you get people like the same guests on the shows, and it's just like a fluid relationship. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point, man. And I, not to get crazy off topic, but I haven't really thought about that before. With the podcast space, I do think it is something where, again, it's not competitive. And in fact, you don't want to compete in podcasts. You want to collaborate with each other.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately how you network. I know we talked, I was on the show talking about networking, but with podcasts specifically, that is one of the best way to grow and to meet more people and have better conversations, actually linking up with our podcast.
Yeah, it's true. I've done it on both ends of my podcast with another podcast I listen to. I will get some of the people he's had on his show. And even though we talk about different things and we just have great episodes.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, dude, so today, man, I know, obviously, so you're a dad, and if people haven't seen, so your Instagram, man, you are very, very, I would say consistent, right? With your workouts, with your nutrition, everything, all while keeping up with, obviously, your active duty military. We're kind of from the same AFSC background, so Air Force Specialty Code. I know you're a combat systems officer, but now you're a B1 weapon system officer. And then, so we went through some of the, first initial training, and then we split off to our different airframes. But obviously, you have a very taxing job being a, military aviator, and we can get into even some the schedule stuff with that. But on top of that, you have a family. And on top of that, too, you're also doing your coaching on the side. So first question, man, is when do you sleep?
I sleep when my kids fall asleep in the same bed, and then I will sneak to my bed, and then I get up before all of them and start the day. I usually try to go to bed we're putting the kids to sleep around 8, so I'll fall asleep with either my son or daughter by about 8:30. Because I'm usually asleep before them if I'm reading to them. Or if they're reading to me, I'll fall asleep. And then, get up at 3:50 every day, and that's it.
So how old are your kids?
Yeah, so Connor's about to turn 10, JoJo's 7, and then we have Cooper who's 8 months now.
Oh, that is so sweet. Ours are similar. Ours are 11. She just turned 11, and our youngest is 8. Do they enjoy being big siblings to the little one?
They love it. Well, JoJo's like a mini mom. She's very helping, pushes Cooper around the house, carries him, helps feed him. Connor's still waiting for him to get in the age where he can play with them because he's like a boy. So he's just like, cool, you're a baby. You sort of just sit there, watch me play Fortnite, and let's have fun.
That's awesome, man. Well, so let's kind of get into it, dude. I kind of want to hear, tell everyone kind of, I guess, because you do have a fitness journey and you portray kind of a lot of that too on your social media, kind of, where you've been to where you are now. And then what I like too is you have a lot of systems in place and you kind of follow those and you kind of preach those. So just kind of tell us a bit, man, how you got into fitness, obviously being military, yes, that's, kind of a pillar that's ingrained in us, but what really kicked off the fitness journey for you and kind of started lighting that fire?
Yeah. So April of 2020 or 21, obviously working for First Form since about 2015, I didn't really do much for them for a few years because obviously being active duty, they were really appreciative of just me just wanting to be part of their team and my background. But in 2020, I think it was 2021, my coach called me. His name's Jake, and he was just like, "Hey, Manny, how you doing?" And I was like, good." He's like, "How's First Form going?" I'm like, "I think it's going good. I don't know. Like, I buy some stuff. I try to sell some stuff. I help people." But what he really was doing was following up with me on his side of the house, as I do now with coaches on, are they leading by example? Where's their journey? How's their Facebook group, etc. And I wasn't really doing a lot of it. And so it was just like a moment I needed to hear from somebody to tell me to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I really got in the groove of kicking up my Facebook group, kicking up coaching, and then getting back into the First Form app because it just like established some more. And then following his group, people were talking about 75 Hard. You know, it's created by Andy Frisella. It's just a great program. And so I went to Summer Smash that year for First Form, and it changed my life being around those people, like just people that are just straight up killers in everything they do, but humble and appreciative. And just, if you follow them on social media, you know what they're like. And that's how they are in real life.
I'm a fan of Andy Frisella.
Yeah. And so I went to Summer Smash, and I was like, okay, if this is what I'm going to be around, I got to step it up. And so that next day I got home so I got home on a Sunday. Tuesday, I started 75 Hard. I was 217 pounds, you know, like the normal military life where you're drinking throughout the week. You got roll calls and all this. And obviously 75 Hard, there's 5 steps you do, right? Read 10 pages every day, take a picture every day, drink 120 ounces of water. You're on a nutrition plan, and then you exercise 2 times, 45 minutes a piece, 3 hours apart. One has to be outside. No alcohol and no cheat meals. And so you do that for 75 days. And that's what built the consistency, which is why it's a great thing. But from there, I just kept doing it. I still exercise twice a day 4 years later. I still don't drink alcohol. You know, obviously out here I'll have like a beer, but that's just being out here. But it's not as much as I used to. Right. I still track my food. I still read. I don't take the picture as much as like once a week, but the habits don't go anywhere when you do something consistent for 75 days. And so after 75 Hard, there's a program called Live Hard program. I continued to do that. And I got down to like 167 pounds. So about losing 45 pounds. I switched my gears into like Olympic lifting strength training to like endurance training. Really kicked up all the things that I didn't like to do before that I was scared of or nervous about, like running and cycling and swimming and just losing weight and not drinking, right? And it changed who I was because I'm not that person, but it made me better, like father, coworker, friend, everything else in life, not just physically better, but like everything better.
Yeah. I think that is such a great thing about 75 Hard that I feel like people don't realize is people think that it's a workout plan, and it's not. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a plan to change who you are as a person, to change that discipline. You know, I have clients who are like, I want to do 75 Hard, you know, I want to lose weight. And I said, that's not a reason to do it. Like, that's not why you should do it. Because it really does. We haven't done it, but we definitely believe in the program, and it definitely does transform you, like you said, and builds that discipline. How did your family respond after you kind of changed into this new sort of steady lifestyle?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was doing 75 Hard, my wife was obviously like, you're ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you working out so much? But there's a concept that Andy teaches as well, and it's been around for a while, but it's called the 30-60-90 rule. And it takes 30 days to sort of like build a habit, 30 days to do something, 60 days to see results, and then 90 days for other people to see results. But you can use that through anything in life, right? Like a business, it may take a year to build it, 3 years to see results, 5 years to like really let other people see it. So you can change the timeline, but 30-60-90 is a good way to do it. And so the first 30 days on her side, she just thought I was crazy. She's like, oh my gosh, you're going to exercise again, blah, blah, blah. 60 days, obviously I was seeing really good results. The drinking was better. And then 90 days, like my kids are doing it with me every day. Tara's jumping in on it. And now the kids, they just work out with us all the time. They look forward to when they're not practicing sports is usually when we have them come to the gym with us in the afternoon. Saturday mornings, we go to the local gym with them. Man, every chance we get, if we're outside, like they know we're going to go to the gym and they just love it. So at first they didn't know what to see, but once they saw where I was going and who I was becoming, they were just like, okay, like this isn't crazy like exercise. It's something else, it's like a new person. And so my transition was, I didn't have the mustache before and the mustache grew and I got smaller. And so the mustache sort of like embellished this like transformation in me. And so it keeps me humble because, so my wife thought I was crazy. And now she's like just used to these 2 exercises a day. Because in the morning, that's like my 0 time. It doesn't matter if I exercise or not. It's like a free period, so I can do that all the time and have no, effect on my family. It's the afternoon ones where I'm planning a little bit more if the kids have practice, or I'll try to do it at lunch at work. But most of the time I'll do them at lunch at work. If not, right when I come home, if the kids are doing homework, they can come out to the garage with me and do homework while I'm exercising. If Tara's busy, or I'll just jump out there really quick, do like 30, 45 minutes and come back inside or do something in the evening.
See, man, I think that's something that is really good that you hit on, bringing the family into it, because again, it's tough when you start a whole new routine or you're trying to change your habits, right? And your family's not on board, or like your friend group. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago about when you're really trying to start a transformation journey, or you just want to do a big lifestyle change. And for a lot of the average person to tell them that, like, oh, I'm going to start working out twice a day, I'm not going to be drinking alcohol anymore, which is such a societal norm. Meal prepping, all that kind of stuff. People start looking at you funny and ask like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? But I think it's good that, again, it's setting that example, right? And then they start seeing that you're looking better, you're feeling better, you're performing better. And I like what you said too, it goes to all facets of life, right? So it's not just the physical, but your mental acuity is better. How you're performing at your job is better. You're able to be more resilient so you can take on extra things. And, for us, like fitness is such like a metaphor for life. And, sometimes it's like people would make fun of it and it's, it's just like, these like fitness people, but it's like, no, like if you can take care of your fitness and take care of yourself, that translates to so many facets of life that I think sometimes people tend to overlook when they're not in this world.
Yeah, and kids, I love that you have your kids go out there and do that with you, because kids are sponges. Like they are the ultimate little sponge, and they will see what you do and they'll mimic you, and they'll hear what you say and they will copy you. And like, what a great way to set that example for them and instill that when they're young, so that they don't have to grow up and live this unhealthy lifestyle, and then as an adult try and reverse that, because that is so challenging. So have you noticed a difference in your kids specifically when the family kind of adopted this lifestyle?
There were a couple points I'll add on as well with that. But for my kids, before I started 75 Hard, we were still going to the gym together because I've always been exercising. It's just 75 Hard made it more intentful, It changed the way I exercise besides my normal just strength training. Like that's all I was doing. I was just doing Olympic lifting. When I got up to 217, that was just it. And so my kids had always been to the gym with us prior to that. It's just now there was more inclusion. Like before, I think when we went, it was like, hey, I'm going to do this. You guys can go play over here, drop them off in like the Crunch gym area where they're stuck on an iPad, or at the other gym we'd go to, they weren't as involved. But with 75 Hard, it really became like a family thing. Now they go out there and they may not be in the gym with me, working, like doing what I do, but JoJo may be on her gymnastics bar, doing that. Or Connor may be riding his bike. They're just active during that time, which is perfect. Like I never tell my kids what exercises to do unless they're in trouble. That's probably the only time I ever direct exercise. And they know it too. Yeah, they know it too. They know. And they've called me out on it at the house. Like we do burpees if we leave stuff in the bedrooms, or air squats. And they'll call me out like, Dad, you have 10 burpees. There's a rat. And I'm like, dang it, son of a gun. But we also have like an exercise dice that has like exercises and reps on it, very simple. And so sometimes our workouts are only like 10 minutes where I'm just like, dude, just roll the dice 20 times out here and you can go inside. And like, oh, okay, cool. They'll roll it, do the exercise really quick and go inside. But that's it. And sometimes I'll be like, just write something on the board. Let me see what you come up with. And Connor's really good at that. He loves leg day. So he's always trying to do like leg exercises, which is really funny because he's got like
squatting all the time.
He's got those like wobbly legs. So the form is horrible, but I'm like, we'll get there. So,
Hey, that's good, man, that he likes leg day now. That way he's not skipping legs.
Well, he's got a goal to, yeah.
I want to talk a bit about the coaching aspect. And then I kind of want to also tie that into kind of leadership in the military now, because, for everyone, obviously with the introduction, you are a major United States Air Force. And again, on the officer side of the military, right? Officers are expected to lead, to manage people, and to, really be setting that example. And, a major, that's a FGO, so field grade officer, that's when you start getting up into kind of the higher ranks, right? Before you hit a lieutenant colonel, full-bird colonel, then you hit, your general ranks, right? So you're up there you're starting to get to the top of the pyramid in the military leadership. Then on the side, you're also leading, your clients, your coaching. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit and, how those parallel each other and, how, I guess, like in both ways, how it's helped you on both sides.
Yeah. So the coaching that I do while active duty has been great. A lot of people will ask, like, do I lose focus in the military, or I don't know, like, is there that divide? But there isn't, because being an online coach is very flexible nowadays with the way social media is set up and the way apps are. And so I have that flexibility to message my clients in the morning, at lunch, etc., see how they're doing on the nutrition, FaceTime them when I have to. And the way it relates to the military is it just allows me to build relationships with people in the app, which allows me to build relationships with people in the military if I don't know them as well. Because as we know, relationships is key, networking is key. Mm-hmm. And so being a major now, it's really all about going to meetings and just talking to people. That's where I'm at now, is more supervising some of the squadron stuff, making sure everything's running smooth. And it is funny being back in the ops squadron in a major per se. I say it because I don't feel like it, but I get treated like it, when the young captains and lieutenants are like, oh, it's Manny, like, or Snare, here he comes, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about, dude? Like, well, it's Major Lamson. Yeah, I know. But I don't know. It's obviously the higher you get, the less you see lead by example. I think in the military, you become more of like a supervisor and do as I say. And so I'm trying to change that mentality, change the, hey, do this because of this. When they hear it, it's do this because I could do it too, or I've done it. And then they go, okay, now I'm going to go do it. And so I talk a lot about my coaching and my fitness journey with my squadron. Before I didn't, because I was nervous of what they would think. But at the same time, I was just like, that's dumb. Why do I care what they think, Because they will care, and they did. So coming out here, I told my whole squadron, I was like, hey, guys, I coach online. If there's anybody that needs some help, you obviously know I exercise because I talk about it all the time. I track my food. And so I got about 30 people, coming out here that are in our own little group, and I'm just educating them and teaching them, showing them how to do some stuff. And it was cool because there were a lot more people that are appreciative of it than I thought were going to be. And even my commander is like, hey, keep doing that, because his 3 pillars are be good in the jet, be good as a person, and be good in your duty. And so me coming to our squadron this year, my support was not to be good in the jet, because there's other people that are better than me there. I brought to the squadron how to be a good person and how to be good at your ground duties. Because I believe if you can kill a lot of the queep and make a lot of your day built with habits, and you're a good person and good in your duties, you're going to become better in the jet. A lot of people don't realize that in the military. They think to get better in the jet, they have to only be good at the jet. And that doesn't work. Like, you can't just be an aviator all the time. You're not going to be a good person, and you're not going to be good at your duties. But if you can increase those a little bit, it increases your aviation skills, So if I become a better person, this is going to get better. And so that's what I'm trying to teach my squadron now is, hey, you young leaders, it's not just about flying. Yes, that's your job, but it won't be your job your whole career. That's not, you're an officer, right? You're not a flyer, you're an officer. So I need you to be a good person and a good leader, and be good in the jet. Is it going to be hard? Yes, that's life. Like, it is very difficult, but that's why we're here. Like, we got this job because we're better than most people that didn't get it, right? So that's why we have to be better. We have to continue to live up to it. You can't just become an aviator and think that's it. Like, oh, I made it cool. Like, that's the bar. Like, no, it just keeps going up.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I think that's, we even with like, all careers, all jobs, like, I think that's a common thread, someone who like, okay, and we'll talk like aviation, right? Like there's the people, who are excellent pilots or, excellent, navigators, whatever it is, on the plane. This translates to any job, right? You might be like an excellent salesperson. You might be an excellent, surgeon, whatever it is. But if you're not a good person on the outside, right, and you're not taking care of everything else, a lot of times, man, people don't want to be around you. A lot of times people won't, they won't go to you to pull those skills that you have from you because they know they can't talk to you. They can't trust you. They're not going to have a good conversation with you. So what I always saw, and even like for me, a lot of my mentors and the people that I looked at were, yeah, they maybe weren't the best, tacticians in the plane, but outside they were awesome leaders. They took care of their people. They were well-rounded people. They had other stuff going on the outside that made them like a holistic person. And they weren't just focused on, this one job. They were very well-rounded people. So I like that, how you kind of said that you're bringing, yes, you might not bringing, one thing exactly to the squadron, but you're bringing, these other things that, in my opinion, make it a little bit more holistic. And ultimately, man, like you want people to be better people. I think that's part of being a leader is you want your people under you to get better and be better and ultimately, hopefully, surpass you in the future. If you lift them up well enough.
Yeah, and culture is just so important. Like, I agree. I think it is. You can teach anything. Like, people can learn and get better, in the jet or, with whatever it might be, their job. But you can't teach, how to have. I mean, you can encourage, but good culture and good heart, that's something that is just inside of people. And you have to have, a mentor or someone who's setting that example and fostering that in them. When you have that good culture, that, like you said, that makes everything better and everything will rise, even though you're not intentionally, teaching them and maybe they're not studying more, but naturally as that culture and that heart is better, everything else will raise with that. So that's awesome. And do you feel like that's brought your squadron closer together and just like a greater unit?
I don't know if I can judge it yet, but I've seen other people who I didn't have relationships before start to try to build that relationship with me on the outside. Because the squadron was really new when I came back to it last year, and so I knew my goal was to really see if the squadron is working at the level I've heard and want it to be. I need to know everybody, and so out here I've gotten to know people through my little fitness group, right? On the outside, know their life, know where they want to go, and know what's driving them and what they're struggling with. And so it's growing, which is great. Like, let's just say last 90 days, I've seen a lot of growth. I've gotten to know a lot of people I didn't know. That takes time, to really build that culture. And my job is to, as an ADO right now in the squadron, is to see where the squadron's at. So I got to get to know almost everybody in it, which it's going to take some time, but and then give feedback to the boss and like, hey, here's where I think the squadron is. Here's how it's going. Here's where it can go. Here's what I can try to do. But yes, I've had people reach out to me who I didn't think would before. But once I threw it out there and they saw what I was doing, they're like, oh, okay, Manny, he knows what he's doing. Let's ask him and see what's up. And so I'm like, oh, cool. Didn't know you're interested. Let's go do this, And most people know if you're going to hang out with me, we're going to work out. Like, That's how it is. I don't do conversations over beer and dinner. I do conversations in our gym, and that's just where I get to know them. And most people are nervous, but like when the airmen come out and work out with me or come on a ruck with me, they obviously love it. So
and I was gonna say, man, I think that's that's a really good point, man. Because like anything, and this is like even like outside the military, like anytime you do something hard with someone, or like going like a hike or just doing like a hard workout, right? It makes that like bonding experience,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Going through some type of adversity with each other versus,
Yep.
like you said, man, most people like they'll go to the bar, they'll have drinks with each other and stuff like that. And I'm not saying there's not a time and place for having fun and being social and blowing off steam. Like, yes, we're humans, we need some of that facet to our lives. But I do think you build better bonds, better relationships, and I think you also get to know a person's character a little bit more, and how is that person like when they are going through something kind of hard, even if it's like a workout, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a workout can be really hard. Like, how do they respond to that? What's their weak points? Like, where can you really help that person, or what do you see in them that you're like, oh shit, like, I want to take some of what they got and put it into my arsenal, as well.
Yeah.
Has it been sorry, you can go.
Yeah, when I was a flight commander of the AFE shop a few years ago, one of the things I told my airmen was, if you can't exercise with me hard for 45 minutes, I don't think you can work hard for me for 8 hours, because I know physically, if you can't do anything 45 minutes, I don't think you can give me a sustainable work effort for 8 hours in the office. And they're like, well, it's not the same. Like, and I'm like, it is the same, because if you can't work hard 45 minutes, I can't expect you to work hard during a stressful situation at work. Like, I will look to those who are, and I didn't tell them during the workout, like they had to meet like a certain, like, level, right? I just needed them to work out 45 minutes, get a sweat in, just stay moving. And at first, a lot of them thought it was crazy, but I have airmen now that I've put through these workouts, and they're like, dude, I love that workout. It was great. It was amazing. I need to get in better shape. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I do it. It's not just for the workout. There's like benefits later on down the road.
I think, and some people might hear this, and I know people hear this and they'll disagree and they'll point fingers. And again, going back to the airmen saying it's not the same thing, but there's something to be said. Again, I'm not saying that like, because we're so into fitness and like that's not the end all be all. But at the same time, man, when I see someone who is fit, when I see someone who is consistent with hard things, automatically, before I even know that person, I might not even talk to them yet, but I already have a level of respect for them.
Yeah.
Versus if that person is sloppy, right? If I can tell, and again, this sounds bad, right? Because like, yes, to an extent, I'm judging, but if I can tell that a person does not take care of themselves, then, well, what else are they going to let slide? What else do they not care about? If you're not willing to take care of yourself, in the one body that you have and the one mind and everything that goes together with it, then, what else, what can I trust you with, and what can you do good? I know that sounds very bad. It sounds harsh.
No, it's totally valid. I say it all the time. And the reason I can say it when people get mad at me is because I've been there. I've been on the other side of not being at my greatest potential. I've been on the side of complacency and comfortability and average, like, officer. So I can say that the same way I can say this is going to help you lose weight, because I've been there. The same way I can say reading 10 pages a day is going to make you a better person, because I've not done it and I've done it. And so I will tell people, like, dude, I trust, like, yeah, I will judge you if you are exercising. I don't need you to be like running a marathon every day, or doing something crazy. But if I just know you're going to the gym in the morning or putting in the work, I will put you on a higher pedestal, because I know you're trying to work on something else. And some people will be like, well, I don't go to the gym, I do this. I'm like, well, cool. I challenge you to go to the gym. I don't care what you do. Go for a walk. Find something to move your body, or read a book. But I need to know, and that's how the relationships go from there.
And I think a lot of it too is the idea of just focusing on things outside of yourself. And so much of
Mhm.
society is just so self-absorbed, and everything is all about them and feeling comfortable. And it's, it's a holistic thing. And I do judge. And yeah, you don't have to necessarily do Olympic lifting, and you don't
Mhm.
have to, do a bodybuilding competition, but you should be moving your body, and that should be a priority to you. You should be reading, you should be eating healthy. There's so many facets of living that lifestyle that will benefit you in every way of life and benefit
Mhm.
everything else. And I do think people might say, oh, you shouldn't judge. Well, I do judge. Like, I do judge you if you don't do that. And it shows. Like, it shows in who you are as a person. It shows in your work ethic at work. Like you said, if you can't prioritize that for a small amount of time, it shows in other areas of your work. And people like to think that it doesn't, but it absolutely does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of like the last thing on this, and I guess to make a shit sandwich, right? It's like, yes, like the judge, then, but like at the same time, I'm a person too, where like, yes, okay, so if you're that certain type of way, like I'm not, like, I'm still gonna treat you as a good person. I'm still gonna, like,
Yeah.
work with you, but like, again, like the level of respect I have for someone like we just talked about, who's fit, who's doing all these things, is going to be higher. But I have just as much, if not more, respect when I see someone at the gym who's either like, you know, maybe, very obese, right? Who
Mhm.
has never stepped in the gym before,
Yeah.
but like, do the amount of courage that takes, the amount of, um, yeah, just intestinal fortitude to
Mhm.
be like, okay, like I'm done with this lifestyle, and to go in the gym. Because, for something like that, like they probably do feel like they are being judged when they go to a gym. They're probably
Yeah.
nervous because they never worked out, or they don't know where to start. But it's that person, like when I see that, I'm like, that's awesome. And that actually motivates me a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's why, that you guys know, that's why being a coach is so great, because you get those people, you get the people that have never exercised, like I have a client that's, was really close to losing 100 pounds, and she never exercised. And we just put in the work day by day by day, and it was just cool, to see somebody take that step that I'd never met in the exercise world, the nutrition world. And we're great friends on Facebook now. We're, I consider part of my family, because we have seen each self through these journeys, and I've seen her son grow through these, their relationship grow up, her move jobs. So it's been really cool to see a day one, and then continue on in their life.
well, so I'm curious, man. So you've been doing the coaching, and obviously you have the military career that you're doing. And then I know, so you were private enlisted, and so for a lot of people, like, who might not know military, so you were enlisted before, and then you got your commission, you went in as an officer, now you're kind of on a whole new career path. So, how many years are you currently like active duty right now?
So active duty years, I'm at about 15 and a half, little over. So
Okay, so you're pretty much, yeah, you're like almost there to retirement, the 20
almost there.
years.
Yeah. About
Um,
four and a half.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that last year, man, you'll be a
It
little
doesn't,
disappointed.
it
But
won't count. So,
it's not. So like right now, as you're kind of doing all this, and it does sound like the coaching,
mm-hmm.
and correct me if I'm wrong, man, but is a passion for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So do you see now that, as you're hitting 20, and I don't know if like you want to continue on past 20, but do you see yourself, once the military side is done, do you think that you will be probably doing something in like a coaching capacity, fitness capacity, probably pivot to that full time, once this military life's over?
Yeah, that's the plan right there. At first, and that's what this new me has changed, right? At first, I was like, I'll just wait until I get out to do something. But now I'm like, why? Like, I'm losing that interest, man. Like, just starting out, even if it's only like 10% in, right? I'm still getting 10% growth, or 30% in. That's 30% growth instead of 0% and then waiting to start 100%. It's not going to happen. I need to build up that 100%. Like I talked about the 30, 60, 90. That's how this is. It's 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, right? So I'm at the 3-year part sort of with First Form, as far as like consistently helping people, consistently putting in results, consistently seeing results for my clients. 5 years is when I'm going to hit 20 and I'm going to see okay, now I got the amount of commission coming in from coaching that equals my paycheck when I was in. That's like the goal I'm working with my coach. And it starts now. It doesn't start when I get out. So we work to target back, right? With like how much do I have to earn in commissions to meet my salary, blah, blah, blah. This is how many clients I got to work with. And we just broke it all down. And so the plan is to match that in commissions and my salary on top of my retirement and my disability. And then my plan is to just a bunch of stuff, man. Like be a professor at one of the local colleges where my wife teaches at. I'll probably just take her class from her because she's just now become an occupational therapist. So she'll be doing that full time. I'll coach airmen or high schoolers from my garage gym, which is it's a pretty cool little entrepreneur job that's been growing in a lot of small cities, that home gym setup.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably transition to there. The podcast, and social media, 5 years later, like, man, who knows where that's going to be? Is it going to provide income? I hope so in 5 years, I think that's a good enough time there. And let's see, what else do I want to do? I don't know. I'll probably write a book. Maybe I've been debating with that because why not? It's pretty simple to do nowadays. If I just wrote like a page a day, and in 3 years, that's 1,000 pages possibly. But, there's that aspect, all kinds of stuff. And the thing that helped me determine to do it now was just why wait, like I've built some pretty good daily routine into my life where I can habit block and time block and put 5 minutes a day into coaching. And if you compound that over 5 years, it adds up. A lot of people think you have to do everything for everything like all day, right? Like you have to do like 10 hours of coaching and 10 hours of this. But if I just did 5 minutes a day of coaching or getting a new client or I don't know, another passion I had, let's say it's woodworking, 5 minutes of woodworking a day over 3 years, you'll be pretty successful.
Yeah. And I love that message about not waiting because I feel like so many people, they want to wait until it's perfect. It's the perfect time. They have the perfect skill set and that will never happen. We're always learning, we're always growing. And you just have to do it. You just have to do it and you have to fail and learn and get better. And you just have to go. So I think that's an amazing message to just do it and to not be focused on just one thing at a time, to, have your hands in multiple things. I think it's a really, really awesome message for people.
Yeah, there's a couple of nuggets I want to pull out of that, kind of what you're just saying. So I think one of the big ones that you conveyed is I do think a lot of people have this mentality, and Heidi kind of alluded to, where it's like, if you want to do something, you have to go like full 100% into it. Like, a lot of people are afraid to start things because they're like, well, I'm not the expert yet, or, I'm not benching.
There's someone who's better.
Yeah. I'm not benching 350 pounds yet, so I'm not even going to start. But so many things, it's like, yeah, dude, like, it's that compound of it's just like investing. Some people are like, I don't have money, so I'm not going to invest. And it's like, well, like, what if you just did $1 a day over 30 years? Like, imagine what you have. You just have to start. You just got to do little by little. And it's just like you said, man, like, yes, right now the coaching might not be the full time because you have the military career, but you're already setting everything in place. You're setting your systems in place. You have your goals. And then, while you can, you're putting into it that way. Again, when you hit that time, when you exit the military, you're not starting from scratch, dude. You've already built so much of it up. And I feel like so many people are afraid to do that. They have to have one thing finished before they start the other.
Yeah.
Or again, they have to have this all-in mindset. And when I see with that a lot too, when people have that has to be all in or nothing, they end up failing 10, 30 days later because they got burned out. And they're like, well, I'm not meeting these unrealistic expectations for my goals.
That's the same with fitness. I mean, I'm sure you know this as well. Like, people go all or nothing. They go hard in the beginning and they always burn out. They go too hard. And yeah, it's a perfect metaphor for life.
Yeah. And then one thing I'll say is, yes, I'm in the military and I know that. So there's a lot of people that I will talk to in the military that are like, oh, you need to be like a B1 aviator, like that's your primary job. Like you shouldn't be doing anything else, or how can you do anything else? That's disrespectful, right? And I'll be like, well, no, it's not. And sometimes just being transparent and open with them on why I'm doing it, they're like, oh,
Right.
okay, cool, good job, like, and I'll tell them like, hey, the military is still my priority. Like that's obviously what I'm signed up to do. So when the military asks for my time there, I give it to it. I don't go like, oh, sorry, I got a coach today, or I can't fly. I go, no, like I'll set aside anything, and do what the military asks. But there's a lot of time, as we all know, that you're not really doing much in the military, like I can only check so many emails. I can only supervise so much. I can only fly so much. I can find other areas to do other things. And that's why people are always just like, when do you rest? I'm like, well, I don't, like
Never.
I don't.
And but I will say this too, man, because I got that a lot too when I was in, because I was always doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And people, again, like it's like that. And I think we might have talked about this when I was on your podcast, but it's like that crabs in the bucket thing. When people see you doing something else, and they're like, well, no, like come back. You gotta be one of us. But so many times I look at other people, when I was in the military and I had business stuff going on, doing other things, and they're like, well, you got to put more time into this and all stuff. And I'm like, well, what do you do on the weekends? They're like, oh, I watch football for 4 hours on Sunday. I'm like, well, cool. On my Sunday, during that 4 hours you watch football, I was working on my business. So there's a disconnect to where your free time, most people will go and they'll, and I'm like, yes, like we need time to, be healthy and decompress, right? I'm not saying to never, watch 30 minutes of Netflix, but so many people, like, they'll clock out after their 9 to 5, and that's it for the day.
Yeah.
And then when other people are out building in that time, they'll point the finger and they'll be like, oh, well, like, nah. And that's where, again, man, it's true. You just got to be transparent. You got to say, well, this is why I'm doing this. This is why on Sunday I don't watch football all day. This is why I do this, because it's setting me up for this and I'm building this. And, and hopefully a lot of times it pulls someone in to see that perspective.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people put their identity, especially in the military, they put their identity into that one thing, especially aviators, like I am an Air Force aviator and that's their identity. And they feel like they can't do anything else outside of that because it will break their identity. And that's what I think is a hard internal thing that people just have to overcome, that you can be more than one thing. Your identity can be built up, it should be built up of, many things.
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I look at my social medias, like most people, that probably follow me know I'm in the military, but I don't post a lot about it. But when I do get a lot of feedback from it, because they just remember like, oh, man, he's in the military. He's not just an alpha dad or doing this or doing podcasts. And you have to show it all. Like I can't just show fitness on my social media. I have to show, like my daily life, how I do it, that I'm still doing this and I'm still doing that. So they can see it's not as easy as it looks, because I don't want people to look at my page and think like, oh, it's easy for him, or like that's all he does is exercise, So I'll throw in like some snippets of, picture me in the B1 or maybe on my rucks and it's funny because some people will be like, well, that's all you show on your Instagram. I'm like, well, what do you want me to show you? Like me sitting at a desk checking emails all day? Cool. I'll post a picture of me. I'm really good at emails. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm very effective at 1 hour of sending and receiving emails. Like I have no clutter in my inboxes. Which is a habit of mine now. When somebody emails me, I respond right back. I tell a lot of people I work probably more efficiently in 3 hours than most people do in 8 in the military. Yeah, and that's why the military has a hard time with this concept of working more to be better. It doesn't work like that.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that is something I saw a lot that always frustrated me, where it's like, it's not just, like an 8-hour shift or a 10-hour shift, whatever it
Mhm.
is, does not equal productivity.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you doing? So like the same thing. When I was a flight commander and I had an airman under me, if they got all their shit done in 4 hours, and I'd be like, all right, go do some professional development. Go
Yeah.
go study. Go do this. Go work out. Go take care of your shit, man. Go take care of your appointments. Like I don't need you just sitting on
Just
the
sit there.
computer,
Yeah.
refreshing every 20 minutes to see if the emails come in. Like how does that develop someone? It doesn't. Like, and that is one of the nice things, about the military. If you do have a good leader, they
Mhm.
do allow you to go kind of do that stuff and develop
Yeah.
yourself, outside of the office, in your primary duties. So totally with you on that, man. And yeah, dude, when it comes to social media and stuff like that too, I think people gotta know, it's um again, it's a glimpse, right? And I think right now
Yeah.
it's very easy for people to, especially in this era, man. I feel bad for kids because we grew up obviously without social media and stuff, and MySpace, wasn't until high
Yeah.
school, and then it was like you posted like a picture of like your dog, and like. But now, man, everyone's just bombarded with all this stuff, and I think you got to take a realistic, look at social media, and you got to find the right people to follow who do show, all aspects of life and not just, your typical influencer out there, like especially like the fitness influencers who are,
Like fitfluencers.
like who's the new guy, like Ashton Hall, with his
Oh
like
yeah.
with his water and banana, all that. And that's like that, dude. That's 0.02% of people, man. That's not your life.
It worked for him though, so I'll tell him.
It works for him. It's like, but it might not work for you. So, figure out what works for you. Follow the people, that you want to really kind of take things from. I think you do a good job at that, man. So
Yeah, it's been fun to try to be better on social media with a scheduling of posts, like people don't realize you have to be consistent in social media too. It's not that easy if your goal is to gain followers or gain clients or gain acquisitions through social media, it's not easy. Everybody's doing it. So you have to be super consistent. And so I've learned through First Form, they do a great job helping of like build a schedule of your posts, nutrition, maybe obviously there's like, what can you do? Like a win Wednesday, flashback, throwback Thursdays, all those things. But you do that over 90 days, people will see you. Same as your stories, right? Like repeat those. Instagram's big on that 9 picture thing. So that's what you look at when somebody's page, those first 9 videos. And so if in those 9 videos, I can have one transformation, one military, one alpha, one workout, one nutrition, they'll see a glimpse of it all. And then it maybe hooks them in, and then they'll see the videos from there. TikTok is very much military for me in leadership because that's just where the algorithm pushes me. So I use that to my advantage. Instagram is very much my fitness, like I bring all my acquisition to Instagram because that's where it all combines. So if somebody on TikTok reaches out to me and they're like, hey, how do I become an officer? I'll be like, dude, just go hit me up on my Instagram. I can chat there a little bit easier. Boom, they're in that funnel, Facebook, everybody knows, just like for your family and friends. It's like, are there a lot of clients out there? Yes, there are a lot of clients, but they're stubborn because they're your family and even though they love you to death, they will never let you be their coach, which is super annoying. But you guys probably see it all the time. It's horrible.
Why is that so real, man? It's like your closest family or friends who don't listen to it.
It might be a little bit different. I feel like as a female trainer, I feel like everyone's like, you're so cute, like that fun hobby of yours. And it's like, oh my gosh, whatever.
That's funny, man. Well, bro, I know we're cut up on time, so I do just want to, pull a few last things out for me, man. So first, I just kind of, give me your last, kind of thoughts, to the audience and stuff. And again, man, I appreciate you coming on. So get some final thoughts. And then also, I know you got a lot out there, and I know your Instagram has the link tree on there, but just tell everyone where they can find you, how they get hooked up with you for, coaching. And then also, for people out there listening, even interested in the military side, 'cause it sounds like you get a lot of that from TikTok, if they just want to hit you up on, questions with that, because again, you do have a prior enlisted background and you have the officer, background too, so it makes you, very well rounded in that sense.
Ooh, man, to wrap it up, what I just try to tell a lot of people, and you guys see it, you live it, and you even said it earlier, you just have to start. There is no secret pill or magic steps. It's all out there. That's why I love social media, because I can steal all these ways to be successful. Like I say that about leadership as well. I don't create any of these leadership traits, right? I have the 4 I live by all the time, but I didn't create them or invent them. I stole them that help me, that apply to me. What helps me become the best version of myself. Throughout trial and error, I found, doing this, this, and this makes me a great person, and that's what I try to tell everybody I work with. Dude, just come to the gym with me. Like, let me get to know you on day one, or just here's this book, go read. I love giving books out to people. That's probably the one underappreciated leadership or personal development thing out there. We already mentioned earlier is reading. If you're not reading, you're behind, because every successful person is reading, or listening to podcasts. Podcast is a very, parallel to growth as well. I just love reading because you're looking at the words, you can take notes, you can go back to it. But if you're not listening to personal development podcasts or reading, you're already behind. So if nobody takes anything from this episode besides I'm going to go pick up a book, we win. The next thing is you have to get uncomfortable. You will not see success if you're comfortable. How do I know? Because I've been there. I've tried to be comfortable to get successful, and it didn't work. If anything, I look back and I thought I was being successful, but I was just being naive and I was just being a young lieutenant. Honestly, that's all I was doing. So you have to get uncomfortable. You have to try new things. You have to put yourself out there, fail a few times. We already mentioned that. And then the other thing you have to do is, I think you just have to find the right people. Surround yourself with people that are better than you, which is hard. And if you don't have them within your workplace, don't worry about it. Find it somewhere else. For instance, the 4 leadership traits I use, I didn't get from the military, because honestly, the military doesn't do a great job of teaching leadership, so I got it from other aspects of my life, from First Form, honestly, because Andy Frisell he is a phenomenal leader. He talks about it all the time, and that's where I got my leadership traits from. And so if you surround yourself by those people, you will believe it, you'll see it, and you'll do it. There's that concept as well, right? That I think is underappreciated, is thinking about what you want to do. Because when you think about it, you internalize it, and then when you put it in the action, you'll get it. Don't focus on the win, which is the WHEN, but focus on the WIN, because you can't set a time on when you're going to win, but it'll happen. A lot of people focus, like we talked about earlier, on the quick results of the when it's going to happen. So when they don't get there, they stop. But if you don't worry about that and just worry about getting there, it's always going to be longer than you expect it, right? An 8-week challenge isn't successful in 8 weeks. It's usually successful in maybe 4 or 5 months. Same as a business, right? We're going to think it's successful in a year, but probably isn't going to be successful until 3 or 5 years. So when you mentally and can already conceptualize that in your mind, it takes away the scariness or the illusion of not doing it. And so the fear of thought, right, is a huge thing that stops a lot of people, because we overthink so much in our life, which every time I think of something dumb or stupid, I just go, stop. That's dumb. It's not going to happen. Just go do it. If I go meet my boss for a meeting, I'll probably think about what I do wrong. What's he going to say to me? Or yes, it helps me plan for it, but at the same time, I'll be like, he's not going to say that. Don't worry about it. Just go to the meeting. Same as when I start training for something hard, right? I'll bet, I don't know if I can do it. I can go do it. Like today, I did, a 5-mile run in the morning, 8.5-mile ruck in the evening, and now I'm going to do a half marathon in 6 hours. I could be like, I should be good. Yeah. I'm going to go get a couple hours of sleep. I'm going to do
Feel bad, dude.
But that's the challenge. That's what's going to make this fun, right? I could honestly just not do this half marathon and get some sleep. At the same time, I could wake up fuck, dude, I said 13 miles yesterday. I'm off like 2 hours of sleep. Let's go. Like,
I like that, man.
but yeah, yes. And so if people want to reach it, so if people want to reach out to me, Manny Mustache on Instagram is the easiest. It's got my link tree. If you're looking for like another podcast right on top of this one, the non-standard podcast is there, where we'll talk about leadership. And then, those are probably the easiest ways to funnel people in. And then just reach out, say hi, say what's up, and then we'll start talking from there.
Awesome, man.
Manny, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And we will definitely have to do this again and see how that half marathon went.
Yeah. Well, no, hey, again, dude, appreciate it. We know you're over in, Japan right now and a different time zone. So appreciate you coming on the show. It was always good talking to you, dude. Enjoyed being on your podcast. So it was nice having you over here, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, for sure, brother.